a brand deal that doesn't suck doesn't try to own your content to do whatever they please. Usage
Yep.
rights just means that you are defining how your content's going to be used, for how long it's going to be used for, and in what capacity it's going to be used for.
Welcome to Accidentally Influential, the show for educators, experts, and creators who never meant to build a platform but want to monetize it beyond their own community. I'm Kate.
And I'm T. Combined, we've built an audience of nearly 500,000 followers and landed over $500,000 in brand deals. Now we help you turn knowledge into cash, content into partnerships, and influence into a business that pays.
You might have become accidentally influential,
but what you do with it now, that part's intentional. Let's make some money.
Hi, Chi.
What's up, Kate? How are you?
I'm good, and I am so freaking excited to talk today. Like, I was literally driving to my podcasting space, and I was like giddy over the things we're going to talk about today because we're getting into the nitty-gritty. And I feel like this is only episode 3 of the podcast, and we're like really starting to give away value, which is where both of us shine.
Totally.
And I'm just so excited.
I mean, we're edu-creators, right? We don't just like skate on the surface. We're here to actually give tangible, real advice to help your lives better. That's why we're here.
And today's episode is all about advice that I feel like we wish we had when we were getting started, but this podcast didn't exist. And so we're kind of like blowing the doors off of the edu-creator space, talking about brand collabs that don't suck. Because let's be real, some of them do. If you're not careful.
A lot of them do, actually. Unfortunately.
If you're not careful, if you don't know how to vet out brand partners and you don't know what you're actually looking for, what the green flags you should be looking for are, what the red flags you should be looking for are, they can be awful. And so we're going to hopefully save some people those awful experiences with this advice and kind of share the things that we wish we knew when we were first getting started.
Totally. Yeah. And like you said, you learn from experience. There's a lot of things that we can tell you to look out for. There's a lot of things we can tell you to make sure are included. But in reality, the more brand deals you get under your belt, the more the things that we're talking about, you're going to be like, oh, that's what they meant there.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, but yeah, we're going to be talking about green flags today.
Yeah.
Green flags.
Have you seen that guy on social media, like the green flag versus red flag guy? Okay, there's a guy whose entire social media page, he like takes people's videos of like relationships on the internet and he like waves this massive green flag or red flag. I'm not kidding.
Like
he like
actual flag.
Like it is like probably as big as this room and like runs through fields, like calling out red flags in relationships.
Exactly what you're talking about.
I feel like that is who we are embodying today. Except we're not analyzing people's relationships, we're analyzing their brand deals.
Yeah. Exactly. Seriously, we should start a series where people show us their brand deals and we'll just scream from a hill over there and hold up a giant flag.
Okay, I'm so here for it. Here for it. And today, maybe we'll give people the kind of categories that we're going to be weighing these brand deals on.
Totally.
So,
yeah.
You want to kick us off when talking about a brand deal that's actually, well, for lack of better words, aligned? What are the first criteria you should use when you are asking yourself if you should take a brand deal on?
Yeah. So our first green flag is alignment. Kate kind of like dropped the Easter egg there. But it's hella important to make sure whatever content you're creating for your site or your Instagram, your TikTok, your audience, whatever it be, actually is relevant to what they care about listening to, seeing. It needs to be aligned with your audience.
And I think sometimes that alignment that doesn't always mean that the brand who pitches you're like using this tool every single day, because I think that there are inbounds that I've received where maybe I didn't know that a certain tool existed until they pitched it to me. And then I try it for myself and I'm like, oh my God, if I knew about this when I was starting my first business, this would have saved me so much time. And so that I think is also an example of an aligned partnership. But also, the products you're already using, you're already talking about on your pages, those are clear examples of aligned partnerships as well.
Yeah. And I think it's just like important to remember you built this brand online of like conceptually how people perceive you, how people perceive what you're talking about. And everything kind of needs to click. It needs to make sense in order for people to continue to trust you, your authority, your voice, how you show up. And in reality, like, you only have so much personal brand to give away.
Yeah.
Like until you become some sort of walking billboard, and which you don't want to do when you're
No,
having
we do not want
partnerships.
anyone to feel like they have to do that. And you don't have to do
Exactly.
that, especially
No.
when you price yourself properly, which, we'll get into that
We'll
as
get
well.
into.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you really should be only promoting products that you truly believe in that you think your audience is going to rally behind. Because remember, as an educator, your currency is the trust that you've built with your audience. That's what the brand is paying for. You should not be saying yes to every brand deal that comes in your
Mhm.
inbox. And I don't know about you, T, but like I probably get multiple inbounds a week that I don't
Totally.
even reply to because I'm like,
Mm-mm.
this is not worth my time or my
Yeah.
energy to even consider taking
Yeah.
this on.
It's funny because I actually started replying to a lot of these inbounds for kicks. I'm trying to do, like, a little experiment, but you know
Yeah,
how, like, a lot
love.
of inbounds are like, "I absolutely love your content. It feels so aligned with our brand, so aligned with our mission." And in my head, I'm like, how? Like, I'm have you, like, watched my content? And so a few of these
Right.
I've responded back to. I'm like, "Hey, can you, just share your vision of how what I talk about aligns with your mission? I'd love to understand how we're a good fit for
Yes.
each other."
Yes. Because I think sometimes these brands, I don't know if they just like shoot emails to like
I
a
think
million
so.
different creators thinking like
Yeah.
eventually one will say yes. But I've gotten pitches sometimes for like products that I'm like, in what way could I ever incorporate this
Yeah.
into my business?
Yeah.
Or could my community incorporate this into their business? Like, this is actually completely unaligned. And at that point, you're just like, no. Like, I don't know how you're getting that, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
So,
Totally. It's crazy. And, like, realistically, like, brands that do kind of do those blanket pitches to whatever creators will actually bite, it just tells me that they don't necessarily have a strategy to create an ROI with that content because they're not seeing the alignment, and therefore they're investing in content that isn't necessarily aligned with their ideal customer. And so as edu-creators, I feel like there's an opportunity to insert yourself there as, like, you're a strategist. You know content, you know conversion. We're not just accepting whatever comes across our plate because it's not good for your brand and it's not good for the brand that's investing in you.
yeah. So, T, like in your experience, and I'm sure that we both have brands that instantly come to mind with this question, but
Mhm.
who do you feel like is a brand who you are immediately full body? Yes, this is an alignment. I'm so excited that this brand is actually pitching me and wants to work with me.
Yeah. That's a good question. It's funny, one of my just favorite brand partnerships was one of those brands that I had not actually used prior to them reaching out, and it was a pitch that I almost just straight up ignored because like you said, I get so many, and for some reason I did not ignore this one. But it was Playground. It was a design tool for print on demand, and it was just like very innovative at the time, and it filled a gap in my own business. And I was like, I'll entertain this. I
Yeah.
used it for like a month, and then I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm in for this.
Yeah.
My people love this. It
Right.
fit with my business. It fit with the business of the people that I was teaching, and it was just an absolute no-brainer. And it marked all of the green flags that we're gonna talk about
Right.
the rest of this episode.
It's so interesting. I also had a very similar experience with them because we've obviously both worked with Playground and loved our experience working with Playground. But
Mhm.
I remember when they reached out to me, I had been like in the market looking for an
Mhm.
AI design tool. And I felt like I had not found one that I felt comfortable bringing to my audience because
Yeah.
I was spending like 8 hours on a Sunday trying to learn how to
Yeah.
prompt AI to give me anything worth posting.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm not going to bring this to my community and be like, here's because we don't have my community is like side hustlers. Like they don't have
Yeah.
time
They're
to
not
do
yeah.
that. And so when Playground reached out, I think I took a very similar approach. I was like, listen, I don't promote anything unless I've like tried
Totally.
it and vetted it out. But if you give me access and I like it, like we can discuss, next
Mhm.
steps. And it ended up working out so well. I love the tool. I use the tool. My community loves
Yeah.
the tool. So I think I'm right with you there on that.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good point, like, don't be afraid to just, like, slow down, and
Yep.
if it's something that you've never actually used in your personal brand, you don't have to be afraid that you're gonna lose out on this potential brand deal by slowing down and making
Yes.
and vetting and making sure it's actually in alignment with everything that you teach and everything that your audience would buy into. You're not gonna lose anything that's not meant for you, you know?
That is one of my biggest tips, I think, to new edu-creators is if you have an inbound and you're interested in the tool, but maybe you haven't used it before, do not provide rates right away. Do not
Mm-mm.
provide like a timeline or your goals for the campaign. You just need to respond back and be like, hey, thanks so much for your email. I would love to try this out. Can you give me access to the tool? That is where everything should start. If you do
Totally.
not use the tool for free, love it, you shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
promoting it, period.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. I
So,
mean, you're only hurting your own personal brand long term
yeah, I
by
know.
not vetting those things.
Well, and speaking
But
of, I'm going to put you on the spot again.
let's do it.
But do you feel like at the beginning, did you ever accept any inbounds that maybe weren't aligned because
Totally.
you just didn't know what to look for?
Totally. I mean, I think like you'll hear me speak of that starstruck moment where you just get like really giddy when people are willing to pay you. I feel like I felt that a lot at the beginning. And because of that, I just stretched things to fit my audience because I
Yeah.
wanted to get like, I just thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
Like there was this one, I was asked to do a sponsored post for like an AI. It was a physical AI device that
Oh,
helped
interesting.
business owners. Yeah. Um, and like, I just thought it was really neat that they would send me this product and I just get to
Yeah.
talk about it. But like, it really wasn't a good fit for my audience. Like, yes, it was an AI thing and I talked about other AI products, but it just like, it didn't fit. And, that was actually doing a disservice for the brand itself. It was only a single video for me, so no big deal for my personal brand, but like as a content creator, a business like that takes this seriously as a business, like that was not in good service to the brand itself.
Yeah. I think that's like huge to recognize that because once again, like in order to be an effective content creator, you have to be thinking about how you're delivering ROI for the brands and not just how these brand deals serve you as a creator. So
Totally.
I think that can happen. And especially like once again at the beginning, it's hard to vet
Mhm.
out and be like, how do you know what is a yes and what is a no? So
Yeah.
I would say with that being said, as we talk about these red flags, moving into our second one,
Yeah. Green
creative freedom.
flags.
Like
Green flags.
that is huge to
It
me.
is.
If a
Mhm.
brand doesn't trust me as a creator, doesn't give me the creative freedom to write like a hook that I know my audience is going to respond
Mhm.
to, that doesn't allow me to showcase their tool and like the things I like about it,
Mhm.
it's pretty much a no
Yeah.
because I don't want to just be like an actress. Like I didn't become a content creator to just read a script. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Exactly.
I became a content creator to like share things that I actually like
Yeah.
with my audience. And as an educator, like that, you should get to use your creative freedom in
Mhm.
brand deals. And there are brands who will allow you to do that because they trust you.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Like, here's the thing, like you have built the trust and authority with your audience in the way that you do content, in the way that you show up with your own voice, your own creativity, your own personality. And so I was just talking about disservice to the brand. It's a disservice to the brand to not show up in the same way that you've built trust, and a disservice to your personal brand. And so I feel like, at least personally, I don't know about you, Kate, but like the brands that I've worked with that are well versed in the field of just content creation and organic marketing through social media channels, they know this and they look forward to. Like, I even charge sometimes for
Yeah.
script development as an add-on to
Yeah.
some of the brand deals that I do, because they value that. They value that creative input, and it's
Right.
important to look out for when you're working with brands.
I think this is one of those things, though, that you might not be able to recognize this until you're in the negotiation process. And I would say one of the biggest things to ask for is a creative brief. Some brands won't even have like a formal creative brief. They'll just be like, this is kind of our idea for the partnership, but we want to give you creative control. If they send you over like a 25-page PowerPoint presentation
Red
with like,
flag!
this is what you're going to give us. And we want XYZ and we want you to say XYZ and you're going to do it in this format. And that's a red flag. And I have never talked about this. But I recently turned down a dream partnership. Like, I am not kidding you. Like, everybody listening to this podcast knows of this brand. probably has used this brand. Like, I am talking, this came into my inbox and I was like
my gosh,
hyperventilating. I'm like, oh my
instantly
God,
sweating.
they found me.
This is
Like, they
happening.
found me. It's happening. And, I started the conversation just like I do with every other brand. I was like, hey, I am super interested. Do you have a creative brief? What are the timeline? Blah, blah, blah. And they sent me over a PowerPoint presentation that essentially equated to handcuffs. And, do you want to sign up to be an actress on this campaign? And I said no.
Yeah.
And I trust that that opportunity was not meant for me. For
Yeah.
whatever reason, this was not the campaign. And I did give them the feedback of like, listen,
Yeah.
I would love to work with you guys, like love to work with you guys. But this is not the type of campaign that I typically take on because I
Yeah.
need more creative control over my content. And that can feel so scary to say no,
Yeah.
especially to like a dream brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Especially if
you
you're
get to say,
starstruck.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But you have to trust that like the right opportunities will not pass you by.
Yeah. And trust like the value of how you create content and how you speak to your audience, that is where the value is. And I think there is a place to make a distinction between UGC
Yes.
type, like UGC videos and sponsored videos within your own community. Like they sometimes are treated the same in terms of creative briefs, but they're very different in terms of a creative strategy to make sure that there's a return on investment on those videos. What do
Right.
you
And
think?
I think for anyone listening, just in case you don't know the difference, UGC content is user generated content. So that's like a brand reaching out and saying, hey, I want you to create a video, but then you're ultimately just sending that video to the brand so they can use it in their marketing. Whereas a paid partnership, you are actually posting that video on your channels and giving that brand access to your community. I do agree with you. I think that things look different, whether it's UGC or paid partnership, but I will make kind of a caveat that as your personal brand grows,
Yeah.
your audience might not recognize that something is UGC because they see
Mm-hmm.
your face and they associate your face with your personal
Yeah,
brand and they associate your personal brand with you.
absolutely.
So even if you're taking UGC, it's still important to make sure that that is a brand that you feel really comfortable promoting and being associated with.
Yeah, absolutely. You're still renting out a part of your personal brand, and there's only so much. I know that we could talk about this so much, the creative
Yeah,
freedom freedom piece.
I know.
But let's move to green flag number 3, which is respectful usage and ownership terms. All right.
Don't we all just wish that this was like, if this was just understood by like brands and creators, we would
Yeah,
eliminate so many headaches. But
it's crazy.
unfortunately, that is not the way this works. So
Yeah.
yeah, this one's huge. Do you want to kind of talk about what
Yeah.
what the heck even is this?
Yeah. So a brand deal that doesn't suck doesn't try to own your content to do whatever they please. Usage
Yep.
rights just means that you are defining how your content's going to be used, for how long it's going to be used for, and in what capacity it's going to be used for. So think like running ads against your video. That is something that should be additional to just the base video being introduced into your community.
Yeah, and
Um,
let's say that again. Like,
yeah,
if a
should be
brand
in
wants
addition.
to pay ads, they have
Yeah.
to pay for that.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
Period. Like, full stop. Period. Let's make sure
End of
that's understood.
podcast. See you guys
Yeah.
next week.
If a brand wants to run ads, they have to pay for that, right? And it has to be for a limited term. Do
Mm-hmm.
not, do not, do not, do not ever give a brand the right to own your content
Mm-mm.
forever.
Yeah.
Forever. We're talking like that brand could sell to another brand in the future. And guess what? They still own that content that you made 5 years ago. Do not
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. And there's a piece here that once you realize and understand the value that your content brings to a brand, you will understand why you should be consistently paid for when it comes
Yes.
to usage rights and
Yeah.
putting ads against your video, because the ROI for a brand can be absolutely, absolutely crazy when ads are
Yeah.
applied to it.
I think that one of the biggest things to look out for when you are kind of looking for green flag, red flag is is the brand transparent about how they
Mm-hmm.
plan to use the content? Like, it
Yeah.
should never be something where you get a contract in front of you and all of a sudden you see in there, oh, by the way, we have perpetual usage rights over this. You need to be asking the brand up front, but also they should be transparent with you. Like, hey, we want a 30-second deliverable, but we plan to run ads behind this. That's a
Mm-hmm.
green flag because
Yeah.
ads are a super common thing and they're something that a lot of brands want, but they should tell you that they want them.
Yeah. And you're going to run into brands that don't know that they should pay that, or brands
Or
that,
pretend that
or
they don't know
pretend.
that they should know that.
Yeah.
Or might
Yeah.
even try to tell you, well, we have other creators who do this for free.
Exactly.
You're not another creator.
Mm-mm. No.
Don't give away ad rates for free, please.
And this is the type of thing that we were going to talk about a little later in the episode, but the challenge that we run into in the edu-creator space specifically is how much our individual decisions and how we partner with brands influences the entire edu-creator space. We all set each other up for success, or we all set each other up to struggle in this area. And so like every single time I make a decision to undervalue our content, undervalue the value that we bring to brands, we're impacting our sister over there, and
Right.
they're impacting us. We need to think about this as a collective. We all set each other up for success.
So obviously, if we're talking about getting paid for ad rights, we should also talk about green flag number 4, which is fair pay for the actual deliverables themselves. Because let's be real, you are a content creator, you are an edu-creator, you are a business owner, and you
Mm-hmm.
need to start thinking of your content as a business and not just as like this thing you do as a charity to brands.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, brands are making money off of you. You should be
Mm-hmm.
seeing some of that money back.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Totally.
G. Like, do you feel like what do you think about when it comes to fair pay and how you price yourself? And have you ever had pushback from brands over
Yeah.
this? I'm sure you have, because I have too.
Almost exclusive. I mean, no, it's not. But I think it's interesting. We're edu-creators. We sell digital products, we sell courses, we sell coaching, all of those things. And it's like we don't hesitate for a moment to price our value for those assets in our business. Like
Like,
not
T,
even a Mosin.
can you imagine if someone came to you and saw that you had let's say your course posted,
Yeah.
and you were like, hey, love your stuff.
Yeah.
$50? Can you do $50 for that? I think it's really aligned with what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm really trying to build this business. I'd love to work with you. I can offer you $50
Yeah.
for your
Sure,
expertise.
take it. Go.
You would never
Starstruck.
take that. So why are we
No.
doing that with brand deals?
No, because it's the reality is it's an asset. Like your content is an asset that is going to help grow and develop a brand's business. And when you start to think of it that way, you start pricing it that way. And so like, yes, I've had pushback from brands, and it's really funny. Because like a lot of the brands that I've worked with work with other creators in the same exact niche. And I was kind of talking about this in the last section, but I had a brand pitch a certain price for I think it was like 3 videos or something. And it was way below market, way below. And I was like, I mean, with love, no.
Yeah, right.
And it wasn't just saying no. I mean, the more time you spend with us, we'll give you strategies on how to negotiate and how to approach these types of things. But essentially I said no. And this brand came back and just basically supported their pitch because another adjacent creator charged so and so for their content. And so it was like they were using what those creators accepted as leverage to try to pitch to me. And in that moment, I knew there was absolutely no negotiating, because they've gotten what they desire in terms of price out of other creators. And so that's a really big challenge. And once we kind of set those anchor price points and undervalue ourselves, it's really freaking hard to dig ourselves out of that, and pitch for higher prices.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we are obviously going to teach in future episode, because pricing is not as simple as just being like, oh, you're an edu-creator, oh, you have X number of followers, your rate is X. Like that is going to be an entirely different episode on like how do you actually create your rates and things like that. But you need to be actually fairly valuing the work you do, you need to know how to calculate your market rate as a creator, know the ROI that you're going to deliver to a brand. And I think also really stand firm in saying no sometimes. And I mean, I'll share a story, but I can remember last year, I had essentially taken part in a renegotiation with a brand where we had probably sent back and forth, I'm not kidding you, 20 emails where I continually said,
Go girl.
This is my rate.
Yeah.
This is what I can do. This is how many videos I can fit in my content calendar. And the brand would come back, and I swear every time they would like come up $50 from like so far below market rate. They were like, oh, we can't do that, but we can do, you know, $50 more than we offered the last time.
Yeah.
And eventually it just got to a point where I was like, I'm wasting I am being consistent. Like I'm consistently saying, this is my base rate. This is what I can do the work for. Take it or leave it. And they're like, we can't do that, but we can do this. Eventually it got to the point where I literally was just like, I really appreciate, you know, you guys going back and forth with me. Like, I'm really grateful that you're open to negotiating. You want to work together. And this is a brand that I had already worked with in the past. Like, I had already done videos with them. I wanted to keep working with them. But they could not meet my rate. And at a certain point, I started feeling, I don't want to say disrespected, because I think that, you know, I respect the brands I work with. I understand they have their own budgets, whatever it is. But the way the negotiation process was going was just really starting to rub me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so I ended up telling them, hey, at this time, like, I don't think this collaboration is going to work right now because we haven't been able to land on a budget that works for both of us. I'd love to revisit this the next quarter.
Yeah.
They actually came back to me and were like, we can offer you, you know, the rate you said. And I still walked away. I still walked because I was just like, once again, like, I really value this partnership. I want to make this work. But at this time, like, I'm now not able to create from a place of joy because I've been through this process where I feel like my work was not valued for what it was worth. And guess what? The next quarter came. They reached back out to me. We renegotiated. It was fine. Like, it was totally fine. We started working together again. And it has not been a problem because I was able to say, no, this actually doesn't work for me.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And that, I mean, that comes with conviction in the value that, like, your belief in your content and the impact you have in your community. And to have that conviction is so important. And like, look, it paid off for you.
We talk a lot on this show about taking yourself seriously as a creator, and that means setting yourself up like a real business.
That's why we're really excited to be partnering with Taylor Brands. They're an all-in-one platform that helps creators and entrepreneurs like you and me form their LLCs and get their business organized.
When Chi and I decided to make Not an Influencer Creator Agency official, we actually used Taylor Brands to form our LLC, and the process was honestly so simple.
We were able to file from our laptops at home in like less than an hour. They walked us through the entire process step by step, and we were able to track the status of our filing right from within our Taylor Brands dashboard.
Taylor also offers additional services like helping you get your EIN or set up your business bank accounts, so once your LLC is filed, you've got what you need to keep moving forward.
Plus, tools like their finance manager can help you track your income and expenses as you grow, which, let's be real, is the part most creators avoid.
If you're a content creator ready to treat your platform like a business, search Taylor Business Builder to get started today. I think so much of this comes down to mindset work. And I don't know about you, Chi, but I feel like when I was starting my business, this was something I intentionally poured a lot of time into, was understanding like the laws of abundance and like what is the scarcity mindset and how do you overcome those things? Because I always believe like if an opportunity is a no, it doesn't mean no forever. It means no right now. And I also trust that like if I say yes to everything, I could be holding myself back from opportunities that are more aligned for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think that there's a piece of like if something is not for you, there's going to be some element of resistance in your body, in your mind. Like, and sometimes the things that we want, like, you know, a quick cash infusion to get paid for content, to progress our business is a lot louder than, you know, that resistance that we're feeling. And so it's like, just with anything else in your business, you guys are business owners. We all understand resistance. Like we need to pay attention to those things because they're telling you something. And that will be evident in this new area of your business as well.
Right. I think so often too, it's one of those situations where, and I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I can recall multiple times where like I had been in negotiations with a brand, something fell through, it didn't work
Mhm.
out. And then like 2 weeks later, I get an inbound that I'm like, oh my gosh, I never would have been able to take that on had I
Yeah.
said yes to the thing that
Yeah.
wasn't actually aligned.
Yeah, that's a great point, and we've said it before, there's only so much space to rent out your brand, before you become a walking billboard. So, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something, unless you're just gonna say yes to everything and annoy the crap out of your people, which
Yeah,
we
don't
don't
do that.
want.
Don't do that.
This
You'll
is
have a
this is
short-lived career as a
yeah.
content creator.
Yeah, and the last thing you wanna do is, like, lose trust in the community that people are paying for, right? And this kind of segues into our fifth green flag, because when we're looking at brand partnerships, one of the juiciest thing that you should be looking for and advocating for is long-term potential.
Yep.
People that show up on your content calendar every single month because they value the ROI you bring. It's a strategic partnership, not just
Yes.
renting out space on your content calendar. Um, and so this is green flag number 5. So I'm gonna say number 1 because it feels so
It kind of feels like
important.
it should. I know. They're all important. But yeah,
Yeah, it feels so important. Have you can you tell me a little bit about your experience with long-term partnerships
yeah,
or potential to have long-term partnerships and how you approach that and
yeah.
talking with brands?
I think this is actually one of the coolest things about being an educator as compared to like a traditional influencer. Because sometimes
Yeah.
I think about traditional influencing, it's like you might only get a brand pitching you if they're like launching a new skincare
Mm,
product or like have a new season coming up and they want to show off like new releases from some fashion company. I don't know. But I feel like as an educator, you're most likely going to be working with the same brands
mhm.
over and
Yeah.
over and over again. At least you should be. Like, you should be setting yourself up to do that.
Mhm.
I think that one brand that I have really loved working with is Taylor Brands.
Mm,
I'm sure people, if you've seen my content, you've probably seen one of my ads with Taylor Brands. Essentially, they reached out to me, and this was another situation where I did not use Taylor to form my first LLC
mm,
because I decided to do it the hard way and like do it myself and then ultimately like try to get an attorney involved, like
yeah.
the whole thing. And then I kept getting questions from my community from people who were like, do
Yeah.
I need an LLC? How do
Yeah.
I start an LLC? And I'm like, I'm not the person to ask because
I didn't
I
do it
didn't know what
really
I was
well.
doing. And so eventually Taylor reached out to me and they were like, hey, um, we have LLC formation services. And I was like,
Mhm.
cool. I want to see, like, I want to go through a trial run and like learn more
Yeah.
about the tool, met with their team. I was like, wow, I can really see the value here. But our videos have just done so well together because it's such a natural fit where we've ended up renewing, like, and renewing and renewing and renewing.
Yeah.
And they're one of my longest term partners at this
That's
point.
amazing.
And I love working with them. They meet so many of the green flags, I would say, but they are always like so open to,
Yeah.
paying fairly, being open about the ads that they plan to run, all of
Yeah.
that. So I would say that has been one of my green flag brands. I love them.
Yeah. Did that start did that start as a one-off campaign that evolved into long-term partnership, or what did that look
Yeah.
like?
So it started as a one off, and then
Yeah.
that video performed really well. And they were like, hey, would you be interested in doing another one? And I think at that
Mhm.
point, I pitched them for a 3-month package.
Yeah.
Um, and then we just ended up kind of like quarterly would kind of reevaluate things at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah.
If you were to go back, so
Hmm.
just talking to a edu-creator that has never done any sort of long-term partnership, um, would you recommend kind of that strategy where you pitch a first campaign and then like kind of have that strategy in hand to then evolve into a long-term partnership, or have that conversation up front from a strategic standpoint?
I think that's a really good question. I think that sometimes when you're first starting with a brand, it's not abnormal to do a one off, but I think it should
Yeah.
always be in the back of your mind. Like your first video with them should be a trial run that you use to then
Mhm.
pitch a long term partnership. One of the things I always do is when I am pitching a brand, I offer a bulk discount if they
Yeah.
purchase 3 deliverables. So,
Mhm.
I'll say, hey, based on the performance for this one, I would love to talk about partnering for the next quarter? Do you want to
Mm-hmm.
do 1 video a month? This would be my normal rate. But if we, book a package of 3, I'll give you 20% off of all the
Yeah.
deliverables. And a lot of brands want to do that because 1, they don't want to source new creators every single
Yeah.
month. 2,
No.
they know what they're getting with you. So I would say if you're gonna take a one-off, use it as an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to set up a long-term partnership. If they aren't open to doing like 3 videos at first, I don't think
Yeah.
that's abnormal. I don't think that's a red
Totally.
flag. But try to book the long-term partnerships when you can and try to renegotiate quarterly based on the metrics that you have from your
Yeah.
partnerships. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I do think that they're like I feel like most inbounds I get, they're all looking for like their initial desire is for like a single video. And I feel like I've developed in this position a lot to become a strategic partner in the sense of I don't think that there's much value to your brand and conversion with me talking about your product once. Like there's a lot of psychology behind repeated exposure and having your brand become a larger part of my brand and like as as a strategic partner, I get to talk in their language. I get to like basically coach them to understand how my content can impact their brand by having more exposure than a single video. And so I think that like we shouldn't be afraid to go to bat and speak confidently to try to pitch some of those larger packages or long-term partnerships early on, you know?
I think that's such a great point, T. And while this obviously isn't a red flag, I would say in order to have brand partnerships that don't suck, you are going to have to take a look at the mirror and ask
Mm-hmm.
yourself what energy you are bringing to the table. Are you coming to the table confident in your value, confident in what you can bring to this brand? Or are you
Mm-hmm.
kind of having this energy of like, I'll accept anything. I'm so grateful that you're even reaching
Yeah.
out to me. Because that is probably going to play the biggest part in how a brand partnership actually goes.
Totally. And it's like we know as edu-creators like that have built businesses on Instagram or selling digital products and learning funnel like email marketing funnels and all of these things. Like there's so much strategy involved in building a business and there's strategy involved with like building a content creation business where you're monetizing your content with brands. And that's what we're here to teach you. You know, that's what the stronger like of a business partner you come to the table as with brands, the more ROI they're going to see and the more ROI you're going to see in your own business.
Exactly. Your positioning and the way you speak with authority about being a content creator and actually knowing your stuff, which once again could do and we will do so many more episodes
Yes.
on like how do you actually come to the table with these metrics and
Yeah.
things like that. But when you come to the table as a strategic partner, you are going to get paid like a strategic partner and not just like some newbie who's making videos
Yeah.
on the internet and doesn't know what they're doing, which you're not. You just have to
Yeah.
learn skills.
Totally agree. Somebody once said to me, like, you teach brands how to treat you. And like
Exactly.
that's just
I
and
think that's like
that's
in
it.
anything. Like
Yeah.
that's literally everything. That's in relationships. That's in business
Mm-hmm.
partnerships. Like you teach people how to treat you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the end of story.
Yeah, end of story. So we got a challenge for you,
Oh,
because that's our vibe. You know, every time we end these episodes, we want you to go away and actually do something, or there's
please.
no point in learning. So
Right.
our challenge for you this week, we want you to look at your last 1 or 3 brand deals and rate them against each of these 5 flags. So just to sum it up, we have alignment, we have creative freedom, respective usage and ownership terms, fair pay, and long-term potential. So take your brand deals and rate them on a scale of 1 to 5 against those pillars and see how they turn out. See how you're doing.
Yeah. And remind yourself not every brand deal is a good brand deal. And you don't want brand deals that suck. And as silly as that sounds, like we want you to have great brand deals because they can be great. They really,
Mm-hmm.
really can. You can have brand partners who are so aligned with your vision, with
Yeah,
your creative energy, with your income. Like there are brands who are willing to do that. You do not have to take on brand partnerships that feel like you're pulling your teeth out to get these videos
totally.
made.
Yeah. And
Even if it feels
honestly,
like it. Promise you don't have
yes.
to. Like,
You don't-
I promise. And I feel like some people might not believe us because they haven't experienced it, but
Yeah. Some are just so, so good. And like this is gonna be the last tangent I go off. I
yeah,
promise.
no, I like the tangents.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that how you build your business now is how you're going to experience it later. So think about that like as you're starting your brand partnership journey, like if what you're experiencing now, you're experiencing friction, you're undervaluing yourself, all those things, that's going to continue because how you build is how you're going to experience later. So we want to build our business in a way that we want to actually experience down the road and that can be sustainable, all those things. So
yeah. But yeah, T, I think that's where we leave them for today's episode. And obviously, we're going to be back with so much more juicy information. We are just getting started on this page. But if you liked today's episode, we would love it if you share it with another business owner friend. We are new. We're learning how to do this. And I think we have a lot of value to share. I hope you guys think the same. And we'll see you on our next episode
of Accidentally Influential. Bye, guys.
Bye.